Name, Angel Has Fallen. Did you see it? I did. One sentence summary. Gerard Butler is framed for the attempted murder of the president by exactly who you think is framing him. Could you beat the villain? Without doubt. So, Gerard Butler has an old army buddy who runs a private military organisation, and he's very obviously evil. As is the very obviously evil Vice President. So could I take 57-year-old Danny Huston, who plays Wade something or other in the film, in a fight? Yes, I could. I'm actually surprised it took Gerard Butler as long as it did. You take the gun out of Danny's hand or wait for him to be out of ammo, and then all you got to do is wait for his stamina bar to drop, because, you know, he's getting on and he wasn't in the best of shape. How would you improve the film? It's going to take a while. So the opening shot is very clearly a training exercise, and we've seen that introduction 1,000 times in action movies. Gerard Butler's all like, hey, you train like it's real or you die in the field. There's no need to break the guy's neck. Jesus Christ. The second you meet Danny Huston's character, Evil Wade, you know he's a villain because he's running his private army. And he doesn't mention that the cyber warfare bit of his company is very important, even though, like, throughout the film, his hackers are doing all sorts of stuff. If Danny Huston's hackers are so good, how come the FBI uncovered their secrets within about 10 minutes? Danny starts his plan to frame Gerard before Gerard has even had the chance to do a favour for him that he's asked, because Danny wants some military contracts. So he frames Gerard Butler, blah 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 blah. It looks like Danny's going to get his military contract to retaliate against the Russians because they apparently tried to kill the president. But the weird thing is, the favour that Danny asked from Gerard was, if you get the top job at the Secret Service, can you chuck a contract my way? So, like, it was the exact same contract that he would have got, surely. And also, it was never explained how Danny got access to, like, Gerard's Secret Service IP address and blah 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 blah. Assume it was hackers. Not all of these points are about Danny Huston, by the way, just a lot of them. Danny Huston is at Gerard Butler's house with his wife and kid. Gerard Butler's wife and kid. And he's like, bloody, remember the good old days. Instead of all that rubbish, they should have, like, built up that Danny was a father figure to, or maybe even an older brother, but a father figure to Gerard Butler, because that would reflect nicely with the crappy relationship he has with his actual dad. And it would have been interesting as well to say, bloody Danny Huston is the guy that taught me, Gerard Butler, how to do cool knife fighting and stuff, because Gerard Butler loves to do a knife fight, and at the end Danny Huston pulls out a knife and then Gerard Butler pulls out a knife. You're like, well, Danny Huston's about to die, so there you go. Right, so they voice modulated the evil vice president for a bit, like, and I don't know why they bothered doing it, because, like, who else was it gonna be? It was obviously him. Anyway, Gerard Butler has some lasting physical damage from the car crash he was in London Has Fallen. Nice. They don't mention the president in those films, but there you go. And a doctor who apparently he paid in cash says, look, you bloody need to slow down. Are you going to do your spine or whatever? You know, that's not good. And then throughout the film, like, Gerard Butler does not slow down and he suffers no lasting consequences. So there you go. Gerard Butler got shot with a sniper rifle that did not slow him down whatsoever. He walked that off like a champ. Gerard Butler saves Morgan Freeman, the president. They both end up unconscious somehow. Then when Gerard Butler wakes up, he's in hospital, and Will Smith's wife thinks that he tried to assassinate Morgan Freeman. because he's been threatened by Danny Houston. And she's all like, well, we found you a folder on the dark web. What does that even mean? And like, he's had a load of dodgy money spirited into his account, and she thinks he is smart enough to organise this assassination attempt with drones and stuff, but he's not smart enough to have worn gloves and not got his DNA all over the crime scene. So I'm in all 3 motherboards. That's hacker talk for I'm about to take control of these 3 cars and disable them completely. I didn't know that. I'm not a computer scientist. In a lot of the fight scenes, I had absolutely no idea what was going on because it's all shaky and blurry, and there's a couple of times where it's very obviously not Gerard Butler doing some stuff. So instead of making that a physical confrontation between old man Gerard Butler and old man Danny Houston, maybe it should have been the young guy who Gerard Butler kicked down the stairs, and he was all like, what the hell, man? You kicked me down some stairs. That's not cool. Maybe he would have been more of a physical and threatening threat to Gerard Butler, but that guy died pretty early in the film, so there you go. Also in that final fight, Danny fires a gun right next to Gerard's head, and he gets the tinnitus noise, which you think, yeah, fair enough. But then you remember that literally like 2 minutes before, a grenade went off basically in Gerard Butler's face, so his eardrums are already shattered. There you go. There's a bit where Gerard Butler is on the phone to his wife saying, he doesn't actually say, oh, by the way, I never tried to kill the president, you're aware of that, right? He doesn't say that, but he also knows that the FBI are listening into the call, and he doesn't say, look, this young dude who I met at my friend's private military company, turns out him and some of his buddies just tried to kidnap me. How weird. Gerard Butler's absentee father meets Gerard Butler's wife and kid for the first time, and she's all like, tell me something personal about Gerard Butler's character. Mike, I think. So I know you're really his dad. He told her Gerard Butler's birth name, where he was born, and his mother's maiden name, and she's all like, I believe you. Like, those are things that could very easily be found out. Like, I think some of them might even be on the same document, the birth certificate. But it would have made more sense to me if he'd gone, I don't know, he doesn't like chili, and he's got a birthmark on his bum. Those are things that, presumably, an evil hacker organisation couldn't just Google. There you go. There were at least 2 terrible CGI helicopters in this film. Can you check to see if there have been any hacks? Again, I'm not a computer scientist. I didn't know you could just Google, have there been any hacks on my computer? Who designs a hospital where, like, I think your air conditioning thing can be remotely hacked, another hack, into, like, basically turn it into a big bomb? That seems like a very bad design for me. But I'm not an architect. Well, guess what, Gerard Butler? All those guys died. You should have tried harder, because they got flanked and they died. This is the first time that we've ever met these characters. I don't care if Will or Tim are dead. And I think that guy died as well. And if you're in a firefight and you're on a time-sensitive thing because you're trying to kill the president and the bloody National Guards come in, if you've got a grenade launcher and you're shooting out, maybe start with the grenade launcher and save yourself a bit of time. So ratings out of 5 beers, 4. Could have been worse, could have been Godzilla. They need to introduce Channing Tatum's character from White House Down, or like Harrison Ford from Air Force One, or something like that, just to make these interesting. And I want another Has Fallen. Anyway, bye.